My name is Elisa Lam, and in January of 2013 I checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. I was 21, Canadian, a university student from Vancouver. I had dreams of exploring the world, documenting my travels on my blog, and escaping the pressure that had been quietly building in my head for years. I never thought the Cecil would be the last place I'd be seen alive. The hotel called itself Stay on Main at the time, as if that could wash away its history, but it couldn't. The building carried something heavy. From the moment I walked in, I felt it. The stale, recycled air, the flickering fluorescent lights, the way sound echoed down the halls like whispers that didn't belong to anyone. I told myself it was just nerves, culture shock, but part of me already wanted to leave. I checked into a shared room. Small, plain, functional. My roommate was quiet, maybe a bit too quiet. We barely spoke, but I sensed she was uncomfortable with me. I thought maybe it was the way I paced the floor at night or how I whispered to myself while journaling. The truth is, my mind wasn't quiet. It hadn't been in a while. The first night passed uneventfully, though I barely slept. The sounds of the city were louder here, even 10 stories up. Sirens shouting from Skid Row, something heavy dragging across the floor above me around 3 a.m. That last one didn't make sense. There was no room directly overhead. By the second night, I felt a strange static in the air, like something was waiting just out of sight. I kept hearing the elevator ding at random times, even when no one was using it. Once, I stood in the hallway and watched the doors open and close repeatedly, as if someone invisible was stepping in and out. I didn't mention it to the staff. I didn't want to sound crazy. I was still trying to believe everything was fine. My third night there was when the dreams started. In them, I was back in the elevator, endlessly pressing buttons, but the doors never closed. A shadow would lean in from the hallway just beyond the threshold, and I'd hide in the corner, trembling. When I'd wake, the dream didn't feel like a dream. It felt like a warning. I tried taking my medication consistently, but I couldn't remember if I had. Some days, I'd skip entirely. I convinced myself I was fine without it. The fourth night, I wandered out to the hallway around midnight. I couldn't sleep again. The lights were dim, and the floor was strangely silent. I got into the elevator and pressed several buttons. The doors stayed open. I peeked out, thinking maybe someone was holding the call button on another floor. No one was there. I stepped out and looked both ways. Empty. The hallway seemed longer than usual, like it stretched into something else entirely. I stepped back in and pressed myself into the corner. I started talking to someone I couldn't see. I don't remember what I said exactly, but I was pleading, asking if they were there, begging them to stop following me. I was alone, but I didn't feel alone. The camera caught all of it. That footage, the one that went viral weeks later, wasn't meant to be seen. It showed me crouching, peeking, flailing my arms as if warding something off. People on the internet dissected every frame. Some said I was possessed. Others thought I was acting, but I know what I saw. The next morning, my roommate requested I be moved to a private room. She told the staff I was acting erratically, talking to myself, and that she felt unsafe. I didn't blame her. The staff transferred me without question, and I was grateful. I wanted to be alone, even if it meant facing whatever had been following me without a witness. That's when things started getting worse. I started hearing voices in the water pipes, soft, unintelligible murmurs, like someone whispering right under the floorboards. Every time I turned on the faucet, I felt this strange resistance, as if the water itself didn't want to flow. One night, I turned the tap, and thick blackish water came out before it ran clear. I didn't tell anyone. I thought it was the hotel. Everything in that place felt broken. My sister Sarah came to visit a few days later. She took one look at me and knew something was wrong. She said I looked pale, unfocused, that I wasn't making sense when I talked. I told her I was just tired, that I was working on something that I was writing, but I couldn't remember what I was writing. Sarah stayed for 2 nights. The first night, we heard banging from the roof. Not footsteps, dragging, metallic scrapes like something being pulled across concrete. We called the front desk, and they said no one was allowed on the roof, that it was locked. The second night, she had a nightmare. She told me she saw me floating in water. staring blankly upward, my body suspended like I was asleep but not breathing. She woke up sobbing. I laughed it off, but I didn't tell her. I'd had the exact same dream too. She begged me to come home. I said no. I told her I needed to finish this, but I didn't know what this was anymore. The next morning she left. That was the last time she saw me. Something shifted in me after she left. I felt pulled, not like I was being dragged, but like something was inviting me. The rooftop. I started spending hours imagining what was up there. I asked the front desk about access. They told me the door was alarmed, locked, and only staff had the keys. But every night I heard it creak open. I started dreaming about the tanks. Giant, hollow, metal drums full of still, black water. I could hear the water moving. On February 1st, I wrote in my journal that I felt trapped in time, that I had to go up, that the answers were above me. I don't remember writing it, but it's there, in my handwriting. The next day I disappeared. It took nearly 3 weeks for them to find me. Guests started complaining about the water, that it smelled, that it tasted strange, that it was black or cloudy or low pressure. Eventually, a maintenance worker climbed to the roof to inspect the tanks. He found the hatch to one of them open. Inside, my body was floating, naked, lifeless, bloated from weeks of decomposition. I was gone. The autopsy said accidental drowning, no signs of trauma, no drugs, no alcohol. My meds were in my room but barely in my system. They chalked it up to my bipolar disorder, said I wasn't in control, that I must have climbed into the tank and couldn't get out, that I imagined things, that I spiraled, but that doesn't explain how I got to the roof, or how the heavy lid was left open, or why I climbed in naked, or why I looked so afraid in the elevator just days before. Some say the elevator video was tampered with, missing time, slowed frames. Others say I was being followed, that there's someone in the footage, barely visible, just outside the door. There's a reason people still talk about me. A reason the story won't die, because no one really knows what happened, because sometimes things don't fit into neat little boxes. Some say the Cecil Hotel is cursed, that it attracts death, that Richard Ramirez stayed there, that suicides happened there, that something clings to that place, something ancient and hungry. I don't know. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just saying I felt it, and now maybe I'm part of it. When people step into that elevator and press the buttons, sometimes the doors won't close, sometimes the lights flicker, sometimes they feel cold fingers brush their back when no one's there, and sometimes, just sometimes, they hear water running when every tap is off. I wonder if they remember me then. I wonder if I'm still waiting for someone else to press the wrong button at the wrong time, in the wrong place. And if they do, will they see me? Or will they just hear me whispering, "Are you there? Are you there? Are you there?"